Okay, last lesson you solved quadratics by factoring when it equaled 0. This time you're just going to have to move everything over so that it equals 0. So to solve quadratics, it always has to be an ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. If it doesn't equal 0, you just have to move everything over to equal 0. If you're still confused with solving putting things in standard form, just watch the previous video. Okay, so our first quadratic equation equals 3x. I can't have an equal 3x. I need to say equal 0. So I'm going to subtract this 3x over. It belongs to this x term. They are like terms. This becomes equal 0. And this says x squared minus 4x equals 0. So now this is the quadratic equation I am going to solve. So it's x squared minus 4x equals 0. Your first step to factoring is always GCF. Is there a greatest common factor here? There is. I can divide both of them by x. X comes out, leaving x minus 4 equals 0. Can't factor x any further, and I can't factor x minus 4 any further. So now my next step is to just make two equations with the factors. X equals 0. And my second one, x minus 4 equals 0. I already solved this one to say x equals 0. And then to solve this one, I need to add 4 over, and x equals 4. My two answers would be x equals 0, x equals 4. My next one, it does not equal 0, so I need to move everything over to equal 0. I'm going to add 5. 5's like term is negative 15, so I'm going to put that 5 right there. So now it'll say x squared minus 9x, and negative 15 plus 5 is a negative 10. Okay, so now it's x squared minus 9x minus 10 equals 0. Take a second to try to solve it by yourself. If you want to pause it, I'm going to walk through it myself. Okay, there's an x that goes into both of these, leaving x minus 10. And then the greatest common factor here is just a positive 1 plus 1. So x plus 1 gets grouped together, and x minus 10. Okay, so now I factored it, so I'm going to set both these factors equal to 0. Subtract 1, x equals negative 1, add 10, x equals 10. Those are my two solutions for number 2. Okay, number 3, there are two things on the right side of the equal sign, which is fine. I'm just going to move both. A positive 6x, to move it to the other side, I need to subtract 6x. That positive 5 I need to move over by subtracting 5. Cancel, cancel, equals 0. X squared minus 13x plus 36 equals 0. Okay, if you want to take a second to try factoring it by yourself and then sign back on. 1 times 36 is 36. Two factors that multiply to 36 but add to negative 13 are negative 4 and negative 9. Rewrite it. Okay, put the first two and last two together. I can take an x out of the first two. I'm going to take a negative 9 out of the second two because of that 9 being negative. 36 divided by negative 9 is a negative 4. Okay, now I just set both equal to 0. X minus 9 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. Add 9. x equals 9, add 4, x equals 4. Your two answers are x equals 9 and x equals 4. Alright, let me know if you guys have any questions.